As Congressman Menendez said, we were just at Delaney Hall. One of the things that I think we need to keep telling everybody, you probably already understand it, but I'm not sure that everyone else does in this country. There wasn't a single person that we met there who was a criminal, right? Yeah. There wasn't anybody there who we talked to who got in trouble with the law, right? It was all people who had a business, who were working, some were veterans, all people who you would characterize as good citizens, right? So I think that's one of the most important things is that when Trump was elected, he told people he was going to go after criminals, he was going to go after gangsters. The people we met were fleeing gangsters. They were trying to get away from gangsters, right? And so the whole idea of this detention, this deportation, this family separation, I see the sign up there in blue, is the reality is that this is destroying our country. This is taking away people who are, important members of society, who are contributing to our society in a positive way. And when they're gone, what do, right? How do we continue this country if we don't have a new influx of immigrants who want to make a difference here, who believe in the American dream? And so that's why we have to stop this. That's why we have to stop ICE. But the other thing that was mentioned about healthcare is also true, because we have to turn this around and not have this money go to ICE instead of for Medicaid. And that's just as important.
Ya que la administración Trump ha cancelado varios programas de ayuda como DACA, TPS, libertad condicional y acción diferida para el cumplimiento laboral. Sabemos que la solución es una reforma migratoria integral y les agradecemos su apoyo a la ley DREAM y al proyecto de ley del registro actualizado. A pesar de que existen proyectos de ley vigentes que transformarán la vida de casi 11 millones de personas, estas no se han mudado en décadas. ¿Qué están haciendo para generar impulso? ¿Cómo están presionando a los líderes para que prioricen esto?
Sure. So, Robert, thank you for the question. We have to be honest with all of America in terms of how we ended up at this point with a broken immigration system. It's been a failure of Democrats, and it's been a failure of Republicans to deliver on meaningful immigration reform. And we have to acknowledge that and take accountability for that. Now, how do we build momentum? How do we build a coalition? One is you're seeing stories from across the country where people are recognizing the value that immigrants provide every single day, not just here in New Jersey, but throughout the country. When they were talking about revoking TPS for Haitians, in Boca Raton, Florida, not a blue state, not a blue city, they realized that they would have to close assisted living facilities because of all of the Haitians that were working there. That creates awareness of the value that every single day immigrants across the country provide to our communities and to our economy. We need that awareness and that acknowledgement to be done across the aisle, because we need Republicans to join us in this conversation to think about how we begin to fix our broken immigration system. There is not one Democrat that is not fully committed to fixing our broken immigration system. What we need to do is continue to tell these stories, to pull Republicans in so we can have a comprehensive approach. And that's how we're working to build momentum in this moment with our colleagues.
I think the focus now is on the cruelty, the immorality of what the Trump immigration policy is doing, right? In other words, when I talk to people in my district, they're mad over this immigration policy because they see people being mistreated. They see inhuman conditions, like the stories we heard today at Delaney Hall. But I think that hopefully, by drawing attention to that, we get to the second part of this, really, which is that we need immigrants. In other words, that the people that are being mistreated are actually valuable to our society, to our country, to our economy. That might be a little harder to get to because people don't focus on that so much. But we have to focus on that as well, because then we can say that the immigration system is broken, and that if someone is here, whether they're a dreamer or they come, now, that they should be able to stay, and they should be able, if they're paying taxes, if they haven't gotten in trouble with the law, if they're, a good member of society, then they should be on a pathway to citizenship. Now that's for the people that are already here, but for the people that haven't come, we still need to make sure that we have a policy where people can come and legally come as immigrants for the categories of people that we need. Right now, the only person who can come here legally is if you're like a doctor or you're an engineer or something. But we need people that do everything else in order for our society to continue to function properly. And I think that hopefully the terrible things that we're seeing will lead people to start to understand the value of immigration in general. And that's how we can change the system, I hope.
So thank you so much for the question. I think number one, Trump and their cruelty has given us all the momentum that we need. We see everything that they are doing in broad daylight, from killing American citizens to beating people to, and we always talk about folks who are here illegally, but at the end of the day, we have people who are here legally, who've been given access to be here in this country by this government on an approved student visa, on an approved work visa, with TPS status, who literally have been snatched up, jailed in a detention center, or deported against their will. That's number one. We have to call that out. Me and Rob also know about so many folks who have literally volunteered to be deported. And where are they right now still, after months of signing a deportation agreement to be deported? They are still being detained, because this is not about getting rid of criminals. This is about making money. It's about making money, making the rich richer, making the powerful more powerful. That is what this is about. And so groups like Make the Road New Jersey, and you sitting in this very seat, you are building the momentum for us to have real change when the time is coming for us. So let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep standing up. Let's keep being a resistance. Let's keep fighting back safely and keep standing up and telling the stories so that we can apply pressure to both Democrats, Republicans, and independents to do something about the failed immigration policies in this country.
For more than 25 years. I came to the U.S. when I was 2 years old, and I am a DACA recipient. Since 2017, I have been left in limbo, uncertain about my future. I have 2 yes or no questions for you. I will ask the first for your response, and then I will ask the other. 1. Will you commit to not accepting donations from Palantir, the technology company that develops the software that ICE uses to detain members of our community?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I have to say that I had never heard of them, but I checked to make sure that I had never received money from them, so the answer is yes.
If I could just say one thing about Palantir, we sent the State Investment Council, which manages the retirement funds for pension retirees, we sent a letter this week to the State Investment Council because they own shares of Palantir, and we made it clear to them that their continued ownership of Palantir shares runs counter to the things that we believe in the state, and they should be divesting from their investment in Palantir.
My second question is, will you support the MELT ICE Act, which eliminates immigration detention centers?
So yes, hell yes. And number two, I'm doing more than supporting it. I'm actually a co-sponsor.
Yes.
Again, I hadn't heard of it until I got here today. But I agree with the intentions of it, but I want to look at it, a little more before I say yes. But certainly what it's saying makes sense. And the idea of having private detention facilities like the Laney Hall is absolutely unacceptable.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Stella. Thank you so much. This concludes our very first panel. Thank you so much. Yes? We look forward to working together this year. Okay? Let's give them a big round of applause, please.